Before I get started, I just want to say Ramadan Mubarak to all of my Muslims out there that are fasting during this holy month and are also working 9 to 5 full-time jobs, because it is not easy. So this video is a bit different from the usual videos I do, just because normally my videos are geared towards, how to pass interviews, things of that nature. And this is in regards to fasting. However, we are in the holy month of Ramadan. For those of you that don't know, Ramadan is a holy month that comes once a year, in which Muslims fast throughout that 30 days. Pause for a second. It doesn't mean that we fast the whole 30 days without eating. We break our fast in the sunset of every day. But yes, for most of the daytime, we will be fasting. Why have I brought up this topic? It's because most people are still working. So even though you're fasting, it doesn't mean that you've taken the day off. You're still working while you're fasting. And so I've done this video in order to help Muslims, but not only Muslims, anyone else that is fasting, because it's not just Muslims that fast. There are other people of different faiths that also fast, such as Christians. They do dry fasting. There's also people that fast for dietary reasons. So whatever the situation is in which you have to fast, but you're also doing your 9 to 5 job or whatever type of job that you're doing, I'm going to be teaching you how to still increase your productivity so that you don't end up getting weak and tired while you're fasting, and it doesn't have an impact and reduce your productivity at work. Now, fasting, as you can imagine, does have some side effects, especially when you're not fasting properly. So this can be accompanied by feeling lethargic, having headaches, having mood swings, and having low concentration. And that cocktail is not great when you're working at your job, because none of that is going to help you to be able to focus and do your job properly. But there is a solution for this. So I'm going to be sharing the tips on how to fast effectively in order to keep up your concentration and your productivity at work. So like with most fasts, you go through a period of where you eat, and then you have a long period of where you're not eating. So the first tip comes in when you're eating before you fast. So during this period, you want to make sure that the foods that you're eating are going to be your friend and not your enemy. So what I mean by this is you want to make sure that you're avoiding foods that are high in sugar, fat, and salt. Foods such as cereals, foods that are high in carbohydrates, things like noodles, things of that nature, please avoid it. Deep fried foods, anything like that. The reason being is these foods have little to no nutrients, and they will make you hungrier as the day goes on. I learned the hard way. I remember there was one Ramadan that I was fasting, and I went and had cereal. I had cereal in the morning before the fast, and I think by 10 o'clock that day, I thought I wasn't going to make it. Oh my God, there was no way I could get through the rest of that day. It was literal torture. I don't know what I was thinking. Yes, avoid those foods. The foods that you need to be eating are foods that are high in protein. If the food is high in protein, it releases energy slowly over time, which means that you will be less hungry for longer and you'll be more productive throughout your day while you're fasting. Examples of high protein food will be things such as having eggs, having chicken, having porridge. If you have that in the morning or whenever you're eating before you do your fast, this is really going to help you to maintain your energy levels throughout the day. So this leads me on to my second point, which is actually how you eat your meals. So when I talk about how you eat. What I actually mean is the way you eat. Now, a lot of the time when people are fasting, we have this mentality that we have to stuff ourselves with food so that, you know, the food lasts longer in our stomachs before it's time for us to then break our fast when we're ready. That's not how it works. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but hear me out. So, usually when a person overeats, it generally makes them more lethargic and they have less concentration. So if you're overeating before you do your fast, then that low concentration and that lack of energy is going to continue with you for the whole day, and that is going to come across in your work when you go to your 9 to 5 or whatever job that you're doing, and for the whole day you're not going to be at your maximum ability because you've overeaten. Make sure that you're only eating until you're satisfied and that you're not overeating. Now, the third tip is in regards to your water intake. Now, we all know that at least 60% of the human body is made up of water. So water is really not something that you want to play with. This was a mistake that I used to make a lot when I used to be fasting previously. I will focus so much on eating the food that I will forget to be drinking water. Don't do it. Because my body told me. It will get to like midday and I was just like, like I needed water so bad. It gets to the point where you're actually fantasizing about water. Like you're fantasizing about a nice cold glass with like ice in it and water, and there's someone just pouring the water in and you just drinking it. Or like when you see someone drinking water, you're just staring at them. That's how bad it got. Moral of the story is please drink enough water to avoid dehydration. It is very important. Before I go any further, if you are job searching right now and getting to the interview stage but find that you are facing constant rejection, no matter how many times you go for interviews, then I have the thing for you. Having experience and having the right qualifications is not enough to get you the job. If you do not have the confidence in order to be able to present your skills and abilities effectively, you will not get the job, and a lot of the time you will be passed over for someone with even less experience. So I have a free webinar on how to have interview confidence in order to wow employers and land the jobs that you want. I'll leave the link below. So tip number 5, and the rest of the tips after this are in relation to how you manage your job when you're fasting. So this tip is one that I always stand by, which is to do your most important work in the morning. In the morning, you know, your stomach is not completely empty, you still have some energy, and that's where you can do the best work, which is in the morning period. Because when it starts to become the afternoon and later, your energy is slowly depleting. So get most of your work done in the morning so that you are the most productive. That kind of leads me on to my second point, which is to avoid unnecessary tasks. So because if you start doing unnecessary tasks that are not really as important as, you know, your priority tasks, all of your energy is being spent on those and you're not being the most productive. So please avoid unnecessary tasks and focus on the tasks that need your full attention and are of high priority. Next tip is to not take on any new tasks, and also to delegate tasks that can be done by others. So if there's other small tasks that you know are going to take your time and it's not going to allow you to do the things that you need to do as priority, and it can be delegated to other people, please delegate. The next tip is to, and I know you're probably not going to like this one, but work in your lunchtime. If you work in your lunchtime, it's still early midday, you still have some energy levels and you can be the most productive. You can get a lot of work done, and then maybe you can take that lunch break later on in the afternoon when your energy levels are really depleting. Then you can take that much needed break, but at least in the lunch break you would have got a lot of work done. The last tip to increase productivity when you're fasting while working is to avoid distractions. Now, we all know that many of us have the weakness when it comes to our phone. We're constantly scrolling through it as and when we can when we're working, and please don't do that. I would say have power hours where you put, even if it's for like an hour, you slot sometimes out where you just put your phone down, you don't look at it, and you just power through your work. This is very powerful in increasing your productivity and getting a lot done. So, because remember, when you're on your phone, that's energy that you're using on that, and that's energy that you could be using to do your work and increase your productivity. So if you need to, I would say put the phone down for designated periods and just focus on your work. So that brings me to the end on how to be productive and manage your work when you're fasting while working a full-time job. I hope you found that useful. If you found that helpful, please press like. If you want more videos like this, then please subscribe to my channel so you can learn everything about how to pass interviews and how to get the job that you want. I'll see you in the next video.